As the local partner here in Salford, I'm delighted to have the opportunity on behalf of the partnership to briefly share my reflections on the key messages from today and the way forward. Not only this, some 5 years ago, when the 4 universities had their Higher Education Innovation Fund turned down, I was sitting at an Italian restaurant in central Manchester, and on the 3rd bottle of Burgundy, we decided we had a real project, and this is the project that you've been embarked on. And it's amazing that these 41 projects have created a real impact in the community. And what we mustn't do is we mustn't let this impact die. And one of the things that I think is very critical in here, and I think we've learned particularly from Horham and what's happening in the States, Michigan is a pioneer in this area. The land-grant universities were always based in their community. Universities like the 4 that are represented here today are similarly concerned and want to work in their communities in a different way. You know, as Irima said, it's not about us doing stuff on people. It's about us having active listening with each other. And Hiram had this lovely phrase, the power of we. And I think this project has shown that the 4 universities and the 41 projects, 46 projects, however you see it, is the power of the we. And this is a group of people who, as academics, actively listen. And we believe we are now working with community colleagues who are actually actively listening to us. And just 2 weeks ago, I cycled round the New Deal for Community with a colleague who in his past life had been incarcerated, and he was showing me the subtleties of Salford and how we might work together in co-creation to create real change. What this has led to is, I would say, true friendship. And from the true friendship, we coach each other. I call it mutual coaching. He tells me what I should be doing better, and I like to think I have a few wheezes. My Vice-Chancellor doesn't like that phrase, wheezes, that I can share. And we empower each other. And as Catherine said, Catherine Kane said, empowerment is a process. You know, we don't want an empowerment division in the universities or anywhere. We want to empower each other. And the phrase I keep going on about, it's about co-creation. And what I'm doing in my local community and what they're doing with me is co-creating differently. And we talked a little bit about it's not rocket science. And I love the phrase. I think someone said, no, it's more than rocket science. Actually, fighting our way out of this problem that we're in, you know, where have the rocket scientists taken us with respect to business? Where have the models come from in business? And we have to think differently. And I think this group of universities, and Brighton is a similar university, I like to think we are honest and neutral brokers. When I was starting the community banks here in Salford, we now have 13 across the UK, and they are all sustainable, and the banks are spawning banks. The community came to us because it saw the university, and actually Chatham House Rules, not the city, as the neutral, honest broker. And we worked with them to develop things that they felt they couldn't do themselves. And I think someone else today has said, it's about creating learning spaces. Universities should be learning organisations. Maybe they sometimes have become learned ones. So in answer to your question, sir, I think we must become learning organisations again, and we must use the media and other processes to communicate. We have a fantastic ally in Hazel Blurs. She's not only the Secretary of State and my local MP, about 100 yards away from me, in her office, and she likes my crumpets on a Friday afternoon when she's got nothing else to do. But on Friday nights, we go to Salford City Reds together. And we cheer, and we're now trying to improve them. They've got back into the Super League this year. I don't know whether they'll keep there. But she's setting a fantastic vision for us. And what we have to do as universities, I think, is to fulfill that promise. And what Chris Dabb has challenged us today, and I try to work with him and others, is how do we do that meaningfully? I would like to suggest as a group of universities we are ready to rise to that challenge. We have risen to it, and have we got it right yet? No. This is 2 years into a process, right, that we thought about 5 years ago. Interestingly, of my prior Vice-Chancellor colleagues that dreamt this up, one is now a Vice-Chancellor in Singapore, one is on half-time now, one has been sacked, and I'm the only one, and I'm just about to go. So whether that's a product of all this, I don't know. But I think what we've learned today, and we need people like Irene Lucas within the public sector who recognise that universities can play a part, who can challenge us to think differently and to help the change process. And it's not, as others have said today, it's not about us and them. When I've been to the parallel sessions today, it's also clear to me that in the current economic climate, we can make a difference. The public, I think, have recognised the limits to bowling alone and is looking for the state and its agencies, like universities, to collectively support and empower individuals and their communities, particularly to enable them to weather the storm in these difficult times. Working hand in glove with the voluntary, business and community sectors, universities can support public services in a very different way. And we do have something to bring to bear. We all have models. We all have theories. I come from the construction industry. When I go into that industry, there are a lot of naive models out there, and some of the buildings have been created because of them. What we have to do is to work together to create meaningful change. This event has been in part about changing and challenging the perceptions that people may have about the core role of universities. I believe that we should go beyond the traditional higher education that was once, making it fit for purpose for the 21st century. We're not exactly sure how we're going to do this yet. We know we're going to keep together. But if I was to put one challenger out at the moment, and it's my challenge, and is that we should get our Prime Minister, when he goes to the States to pick up new ways of working, to go to Michigan and universities like that to find out what needs to be done to change this around. And then rather than bring back his traditional models to us, perhaps bring back something that we know works. Bring it back to us so that we can meet here again, perhaps in 2 years, to make a bigger difference in future. So together, I think we can develop new approaches to challenge society's difficult, complex, and we've heard this phrase a lot, wicked problems. Problems that change in front of us as they go on. And we only have to look outside here in the wicked problems that my contractors are having getting these buildings up by 2011. I think we can work together to enhance collective social and economic problems. And at the moment, I've just finished a study of 150 social enterprises, which have all had an impact. And if you want to, I'll give you my website later, you can go and look at the 150 of them. And we've been looking for real impact there. And finally, I think it's critical that we all work together to make community entrepreneurship flourish. So to me, the conference marks the culmination of this initiative that was a glint in the eye of 4 Pro-Vice-Chancellors. It came out of the fact that we'd lost this money, we felt we had an idea, and had my colleagues, were they here today to see the product of this, which I think is unbelievably good. We must take on new directions and explore new ways of effective engagement and holistically empower and innovate so that we can create things for the future. Our aim now, and particularly the director of the programme and his staff, is to build on the public value that we've so far created for the benefit of current and future communities. So to mark the end of this, I think it's a remarkable initiative. It is in academic terms. I'm sure from the community it may not feel that way, but we would like it to be. I would like you to invite you all to join with me in a round of applause for three groups of people, some of which are not here today. The people who undertook these programmes, the 41 projects that took place, the directors of the programme and his staff, and the people who put on this event today, because I think it's been a splendid event to finish the programme off. So if I ask you to give a normal round of applause for my colleagues. And then I really will stop because we're just about to serve you a celebratory drink, I sincerely hope, when the director of the programme will toast the future of the project. So thank you very much for coming, colleagues.